and it is my pleasure to introduce us to our next activity. We are going to join 4-H Healthy Living specialist Angie Frost and 4-H Health and Human Sciences educator Shannon Chipman. She does 4-H and Health and Human Sciences in Ohio County. They're going to walk us through the Mental Health Wheel of Knowledge activity.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for that invitation or introduction this morning. And as she said, I am Angie Frost. I am the Healthy Living Specialist. And today we're going to talk a little bit about mental health. We know that in America, most youth are considered physically and emotionally healthy. However, in the last 10 years, and especially with incidents or events like COVID-19, nearly 1 in 5 youth will be diagnosed with a mental illness during their childhood or adolescence. So nearly half of all mental health disorders are diagnosed before the age of 14, and 75% of those are diagnosed before the age of 24. Currently, the most common mental health issues in America are substance use disorder, anxiety disorders, depression, and attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, is how you may have heard of that. As volunteers and parents of youth, we must be aware of the warning signs that can help us assist a youth in need. So some of the common warning signs of mental health issues are a change in appetite, weight gain or weight loss, and a change in sleeping patterns. Also, loss of interest in hobbies and things that the youth used to just enjoy immensely. So things like sports or 4-H, drastic changes in school performance, worry or anxiety that interferes with their normal daily activities, acting on impulse or risky behaviors, and also substance abuse or substance use or severe mood swings. So all of these things can be seen as signs or symptoms of a mental health issue. But you may have noticed that they sometimes are just signs and symptoms of youth in general. Growing up and adolescence can be hard. So hopefully today you will learn a little bit more about how you can distinguish between regular teenage angst and a mental health issue that may be in need of some assistance. So today our objectives are going to be that you will learn some facts about mental health and the teenage brain, that you will identify ways to reduce stress, and that you will learn the warning signs of possible mental health issues. And we would encourage any and all adult volunteers who are with us today to attend a youth mental health first aid training to become a mental health first aid trained person. This is very similar to CPR, where you learn the skills to help someone until a more highly trained person can come along and take over. But Purdue does offer mental health first aid, Purdue Extension, and we will provide a link in the chat box for the site that you can visit so that you can learn more about Purdue mental health first aid, especially for youth. And this program is for adults who work with youth, not for youth today. So hopefully soon we will have a youth mental health first aid that youth can participate in. So today we're going to have a spinner wheel. So all of our host sites should have handed out those spinner wheels so that you can have someone spin when we call on you. And for those of you at home, we apologize that you're not able to be with us in person so that you have your own spinner wheel, but hopefully you will learn from some of the questions that come up today. And the areas that we're going to talk about are going to be warning signs, ways to reduce stress, mental health and brain development, and then there's also a space on there for jumping jacks. So if someone lands on that one, we can get up, move a little bit, get our brains flowing, and get back to the questions. So what we're going to do today is I will call on a host site. That host site will choose someone to spin the wheel. The host there will let me know which section the spinner landed on, and then Shannon will ask questions. The host site will be able to answer the question, and if they get it right, they can spin the wheel again. If they do not get it right, we'll move on to the next section. And hopefully we'll be able to throw that out to some of our participants at home too and use the chat box for a few questions as well. So why don't we get started? And our first community is going to be Park County. If Park County is ready, you can choose someone to spin the wheel and let us know where you land.
Angie, while they're going to spin, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. Good morning,
Yes.
everybody. I'm Shannon Chipman from Purdue Extension, Ohio County, where I'm the Health and Human Sciences and 4-H Youth Development Educator. I'm just shy of being there for 10 years and very excited to be presenting with you all this morning.
Okay, so Park County is only able to chat in the chat box, and they landed on 10 ways to reduce stress, Shannon.
Okay, 10 ways that they can reduce stress. Hold on just a second. Let me get there. What is the name of a workout that involves stretching, deep breathing, and finding a spiritual place? That is correct. That is yoga. Good job.
All right. So, Christy, do you want to spin again? Mental health.
All right. All right. And let's scroll up there and we'll see where we're at with that one. Okay. True or false? 1 in 5 children ages 13 to 18 have or will have a serious mental illness. That is correct. That is true. Angie, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't.
Okay. Moving on to the next one then.
All right. So the next community that we're going to have spin is going to be Vermilion. Wonder if Becky's there. Becky. We'll move on to Hamilton County because I see Kathleen sitting there. So Hamilton County, how about you spin and let us know where you landed? Ways
to reduce stress. All right. True or false? Crying, running, and laughing are all activities that have been proven to reduce stress. That is correct. It is true.
True. Awesome. Okay. Do you want to spin again?
Jumping jacks. Okay, everybody up on your
Jumping
feet and give me
jacks.
10 of them.
And jumping jacks.
Everyone should be super excited about this one. Oh, everyone's doing great. Great jumping jacks.
All
Awesome.
right. Woohoo, Boone County. Way to go with your jumping jacks.
Getting everybody moving. I like
I
it.
love it. Park County as well. Okay, so our next is, I don't see Becky back at her computer yet. So how about Boone County?
Mental health and brain development.
Okay.
Mental health and brain development, Pandora. Okay.
Yeah.
At what age does a girl's brain reach its largest physical size? I'm sorry, the answer is incorrect. It's actually age 11.
11. All right. Pandora, do you want to spin again? Mental health and brain development again.
Okay.
I must have created that spinner. It's not
You
spinning.
must have. What area of the brain is responsible for planning, prioritizing, and controlling impulses? Whoa, the prefrontal cortex. Who was it that answered that so fast?
Good job.
Wow.
Tough
I was
one.
thinking we stumped him on that one, Angie.
I know.
Oh.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. That is a tough one.
All right.
All right.
Becky's team is just now doing jumping jacks, so they must be delayed a little bit. So I wonder if they're watching YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. So how about if we have Sam in Pulaski County? Are you there? Okay, she's typing as well. Ways to reduce stress, Shannon.
All right. How many minutes per day should you aim to be physically active? Okay, so with this answer, adults need to focus on trying to be active at least 30 minutes a day for physical activity, or about 150 minutes a week. And youth need to be active for at least 60 minutes per day in order to be healthy.
Absolutely.
So
Good.
you guys, the answers that are popping up in the chat are correct.
Yes. Good distinction there. All right. Sam, do you want to spin again? Ways to
reduce stress. Okay. Let's see, true or false? Stress can cause physiological reactions physiological reactions in the body like headaches, constipation, and sleep disturbances.
Yes, lots of people.
Kenny, that is correct. Any way to put true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stress can do a number on the body.
Let's see here. Who is next? Elkhart County.
We have ways to reduce stress, please.
Awesome.
Okay. So true or false? People who are under stress tend to lean towards unhealthy habits like eating foods that are high in fat, sugars, and salt. Very true. How many of you guys have experienced that recently with COVID?
Yeah. We don't tend to make the best choices when we're tired, when we're stressed. Absolutely.
No, it's probably a good
Plus
thing those Buckeyes.
And it's
Those
getting
Buckeyes are
colder out too, right? So
exactly.
we're tending
And it's harder to be physically active when it's cold outside too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for the comfort foods. Okay.
That's right.
Honey, do you want to spin again?
Warning signs.
Warning signs.
Warning signs. All right. True or false? Obsessively exercising, dieting, or binge eating could be a sign of mental illness. Yes, I'm seeing lots of truths pop in. Absolutely. Yes, the answer is true to that.
All right. Thank you very much. How about White County?
All right.
Jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks.
Jumping
Get
jacks.
to it, guys. 10 of them. Get up and get moving. Awesome.
Okay. How about another spin, Miranda?
Ways to reduce stress.
Ways to reduce stress. All right. So, how does checking off a project or daily task list help reduce stress? Okay, by completing something, okay. That's part of it. Keeps you organized and focused, absolutely. Sense of accomplishment, absolutely. So by making a list of what we need to do, and then doing one thing at a time versus like multitasking, and then checking that off that one thing that's completed, it helps us to stay organized, it helps us to stay focused, and also provides that sense of accomplishment when that prioritized task is done, and then lets us focus on the next thing that's on the list of things to do.
All right, thank you so much. How about we go to Kosciuszko County? Corey, are you there?
We are. Good morning. Warning signs.
Warning signs.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. What 3 types of mental illness affect teens the most? ADHD is not one. Okay, depression, yes, depression is one of them. Anxiety, yes, and substance abuse. I'm not sure who, I'm reading the chat, but it's going really fast. But the correct answer to that question is the 3 types of mental illness that affect teens the most is going to be depression, anxiety, and substance abuse.
Yeah, the ADHD is often diagnosed earlier than teenage years. So that would be the difference there. It's not that they don't have it. If we're looking at diagnosis, that would answer that question. All right. Let's see who is next. Let's see. Do we do Kosciuszko twice, I think? Okay. How about St. Joe?
We are here. Who would like to spin?
Good morning.
Warning signs.
Warning signs. Okay. A person with an anxiety disorder often responds to situations with what types of feelings? A person with anxiety disorders often responds to situations with what types of feelings? Hiding away, okay. Nervous, yes. Fear, absolutely. Fear is one of the correct answers. So there's a ton of answers that are coming in, like stress, defensiveness, several others have come in, but the correct answers would be that a person who has an anxiety disorder often responds to that situation with fear and dread because of the unknown. They're scared, they don't know what to expect. And it is usually intensified because of that anxiety disorder versus somebody that doesn't have that anxiety disorder.
Right. And then the result of that is locking themselves away because then they draw into themselves to kind of avoid those situations. So absolutely. Yeah. Okay. How about one more time for St. Joe?
Ways to reduce stress.
Ways to reduce stress.
Ways to reduce stress. All right. Okay. What is positive self-talk? Okay, mindfulness, yeah. Giving yourself a pep talk, positive affirmation, encouraging yourself. Man, you guys are like rolling in the answers. It's great. So positive self-talk is when we try to avoid negative thinking, try to not be so hard on ourselves, and then we reward ourselves for managing a stressful situation. So it's just trying to stay as positive as possible when it comes to a situation and avoiding that negative thinking and trying to think that the glass is half full versus the glass being half empty.
Yes. And when you get into that, we sometimes call it living in the swirl. You get stuck in this spiral of negative self-talk. And the more you get stuck in that, the harder it is to get out. So if you can develop some ways of sort of stopping yourself when you start to have negative self-talk, maybe ask yourself, if a friend were going through this, what would you say to your friend? Because typically you're going to say a lot nicer things to your friend than you say to yourself. So definitely stop that negative self-talk as early as you can. And it will just benefit you much, much more. So positive self-talk all the time. All right. How about is Becky Holbert? I wonder if she's available. How about Shannon, we throw this one out to the audience.
Okay.
We just pick a question and ask it. Then you
All right,
can
let
put
me
the answers
find
in the
one.
chat, just as you've been doing.
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me find one. Okay, this should be a pretty easy one for everybody. What is one way that you can reduce your stress? Plan ahead, counseling, meditation, get enough sleep, exercise. Holy moly, you guys have some great ideas, but let's think about the one thing that probably causes us the most stress these days. And it's this little thing that we have on us constantly that we're constantly checking. Turning off our phone and disconnecting from social media are great ways that we can reduce stress because we're turning off the negative that's coming across. We're turning off the constant pressure to feel like we have to respond. And so by turning off our phone, disconnecting from that social media, it's a great way to kind of rejuvenate your perspective. Angie, just to share something, a couple of years ago at Easter time, I decided to fast from Facebook for Lent. And honestly, it was the most rewarding time because I spent more time with my family. I wasn't stressed at what was going on in the world. I mean, I checked it for work purposes, but stayed off my personal page. And it was amazing, like just how much more relaxing it was to be without it. Other ways that we can reduce stress would be to get plenty of sleep, make sure that we get that 30 to 60 minutes of exercise every day, and even getting a pet, having a cat, a dog, a turtle, whatever you need to get can help you release stress as well. So those are just some of the ways. And then plus all the ones that you guys mentioned as well, like mindfulness, taking a walk, going to the barn, just, being with family, things like that. Any one of those things is a great way to deal with stress, but as long as you have a positive outlet to deal with your stress, and that's what's important.
Yeah, I think we've seen that stress reduction via getting a pet a lot during COVID.
Yes.
Lots of people getting puppies and kittens and things. And unfortunately, I'm not one of them yet. But
yeah, same here. I'm not in that boat yet, but
I want to be. I want to join the crowd and get a puppy.
I do too. Plus, I want somebody to clean up under the high chair when my kid gets done eating. So,
right? With
anyway.
2 kids, you need that.
Exactly.
Let's try to go back to Park County and see if they would like to spin again.
Okay.
Here she comes.
Get a bunny or two.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't give you any warning there, Christy. Let's see.
Jumping jacks.
Jacks.
Pet your Holstein. JJ, I like that. I grew up with Holsteins. Those cows are super relaxing and good for stress.
We might mix up the jumping jacks with some squats or something here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So we don't have everybody too out of breath. Okay, how about another spin? And Park County says reduce stress.
Okay. Okay, true or false? Lack of sleep can be a symptom of stress, but can also intensify feelings of stress. True. Yep, that is correct. The less sleep we have, the more things seem to be compounded to be worse than what they really are. So sleep is so vital to our health, especially when it comes to stress management.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Park County. How about Boone County? See, Pandora's right there.
She's on it.
Warning signs.
Warning signs. Okay. And this is going to be one that there's going to be multiple answers to. So, what are 2 red flags regarding mental health that should cause concern? Weight loss, yep. Mood change. Withdrawal, depression, overeating, binge eating. Yeah, lots of things coming in, loss of appetite. All of those are definitely warning signs. But the ones that we have here would be like excessive sleeping. That could be a sign of possibly depression, or the opposite, difficulty sleeping or insomnia, loss of self-esteem, like feeling like they're not worth anything, just having a lot of self-doubt, loss of interest in a favorite pastime. Angie kind of talked about this at the beginning when we talked about losing interest in a sport, a hobby, 4-H, anything like that. A dramatic decline in academic performance. You know, you might have a youth that was on the honor roll and was very active, and then all of a sudden the grades have dropped and they're just academically, something's going on. And then also some personality shifts that are out of character. You know, you might have a youth that's usually super responsible and one of those kids that you can rely on, and then all of a sudden they're just dropping the ball on everything, and it's just a total 180 from the personality that they have. So all of those are signs. And then all those that you listed in the chat box as well are definitely things to be on the lookout for as a volunteer or someone that works with youth in regards to, you know, making causes for concern. And I think, Angie, did you just post the youth mental health?
I did. And
okay.
Again, referring back to the youth mental health first aid training that Purdue Extension hosts, it is now virtual for about 2 or 2.5 hours. You are self-paced, go through a portion of the course, and then you join a Zoom session much like this to finish the rest of it with a trained trainer, such as myself.
Angie, I just completed it like 2 weeks ago, and it was incredibly worthwhile.
It is. It's amazing. It really does help distinguish what can be just regular teenage problems that we don't want to make light of, but that don't rise to the occasion of a mental illness. So when you heard excessive sleeping, I bet many of you who have teenagers or are teenagers were like, that's what teenagers do. They sleep a lot when they get a chance to, because sometimes they don't sleep enough. So I highly encourage you to visit extension.purdue.edu/MHFA and sign up for a youth mental health first aid course that's near you, especially if you're an adult who works with youth. It is an amazing course.
And even if you have to do it virtual, it's very interactive. There's always some type of question and answer, some type of activity to keep you engaged. It's very rewarding.
And it's only $20. So it's a good use of your funds. All right, let's see who is next. Elkhart County. We have you spin again?
We got jumping jacks. I'm sorry.
Come on, Steele, let's do it. Steele's volunteers are like, come on, Steele.
All right. Do you want to spin again then, Steele? Just don't land on the jumping jacks.
We got, I had somebody else spin this time.
Oh, good.
Mental health and brain development.
All right.
Brain development, okay. What percentage of youth have a mood disorder?
%? Target?
You're getting warmer.
Not 100%.
Actually, okay, whoever just typed in 11, actually 11% is the correct amount of youth that actually have a mood disorder that have been
diagnosed. A diagnosed mood disorder. We want to make that
emphasis that.
Yes, it has been diagnosed. All right, great, thank you. Let's see, Pulaski County.
Mental health and brain development. Okay. For boys, what age does their brain reach its largest physical size?
I think we said girls was 11, right?
Yes, girls was age 11. Okay, whoever just typed in 14. Age 14. Age
Yeah.
14 is when a boy's brain reaches its largest physical size.
Excellent. All right.
And then can you describe what a mood disorder is?
So a mood disorder, a mood disorder is like a constant, like an extreme fluctuation in what, like, how do I explain this? Angie, help me out here. It's like if they go from 1 minute, like, I mean, obviously with teenagers, like the hormones are raging, their moods are changing constantly, but this is like an extreme fluctuation going from happy and excited 1 minute to angry, crying, not able to control that and reel it in, kind of emotional change. Angie, do you want to add to any of that?
Yeah, mood disorders are things like anxiety
Yeah.
and depression, as well as I'm just trying to see if I can come up with the main ones here for you. So mood disorders are having less interest in usual activities, feeling sad or hopeless, or other symptoms that last for more than 2 weeks. So that is a sign. So we know that we all have mood shifts quite frequently. You know, some days are good, some days are bad.
Yep.
But if the mood persists for longer than 2 weeks, that could be a sign of a mental health illness or a mental health disorder that needs to be addressed with someone. So if it persists for longer than 2 weeks, it might be time to reach out to a mental health provider.
Thank you. That's really helpful.
Good. All right. Okay, let's see who is next. Let's throw one out to the audience to put in chat again this time. So choose one.
Okay, so this is going to be under mental health and brain development. This is a true or false question. True or false, your brain doesn't finish developing and maturing until your late teens. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of falses. I'm seeing some trues. If you answered false, then you are correct. Your brain does not finish developing and maturing until your mid to late 20s. Which is
It
why I
wasn't
always
that long
say,
ago that I learned that, and I was simultaneously shocked and not by that information that you know, sometimes when youth go away to college and you're like, gosh, you're in college, why are you still like making these same choices that you made when you were a teenager? Because their brain is still developing and growing to its full potential in maturity. And so, you know, we need to give them a little bit of a break.
that's why we need to encourage like not making any major life decisions till after you're 25, not, you know, doing anything like that, because usually that's about the peak time when brain development has completed is around age 25 or a little after.
Absolutely. How about another audience one, Shannon?
Okay, so another one about, let me scroll down here to, okay. Paranoia and excessive secrecy could be signs of what mental illness? Paranoia and secrecy and excessive secrecy could be signs of what mental illness? Okay, I just saw the answer come in. It was depression. The correct answer for that is depression. So Angie, do you have anything you want to add to that one?
I don't.
Okay. Throwing another one out to the audience. Where does prescription drug use rank when compared to marijuana and alcohol use among teens? Okay, somebody just typed in second. So prescription drug use actually ranks second to marijuana and alcohol, which is why it's so important as adults that we go through the medicine cabinet and dispose of medicines correctly. If they are expired, if we haven't used them all, we can take them to our local police department and dispose of them and hand them over correctly. We don't ever want to flush them. We don't ever want to take the labels off of them or anything like that. It's so important that we dispose of our medicines properly because, as you can see, prescription drug use can rank pretty high in a teen's life next to marijuana and alcohol.
And I think it's important to point out as well that it just isn't safe for the environment either to flush or to throw medications away. And there are lots and lots of pharmacies, police departments, and different organizations that often have disposal collections. and they have certain dates. So you just have to look in your community and find out when is there going to be a time near you where you can take all of those medications, hand them over to someone who can dispose of them properly.
And just a word of advice, speaking from experience from doing one of those disposing of unwanted medicines properly days, your extension office might even offer one of those where they work with their state police and local health department to have one of those days. If you are going to take prescription drugs, keep them in the bottle or container that they came in. As an experience, we had a lady come in and she just brought a Ziploc bag full of drugs. She had disposed of all the bottles, and our pharmacist had to go through and identify each, like there was probably over 1,000 pills in this bag, and had to identify, and it was very timely. So make sure when you're going to dispose of your medicines, scratch off your name, scratch off the prescription number, but leave it in the bottle and with the type of prescription that it is, so that it can easily be identified and logged. So
Good
just
point.
an FYI there.
Great. Excellent point. Okay. Is Pandora, are you, there you are. You want to spin?
Warning signs. All right. Okay. What is obsessive compulsive disorder? Okay. Question was, what is obsessive compulsive disorder? Okay. You focus on small details, constantly doing something, freaking out over the small details, compulsion to repeat. Yeah. Okay. You guys are all on the right track. Basically, obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, is repeated upsetting thoughts called obsessions. You do the same thing over and over again to try to make the thoughts go away. Now, Angie, this is a point that I wanted to bring up with you. Like, we often talk and joke about, oh, that's just my OCD acting up when we, are doing something, or we're trying to lead a group or whatever, and we're kind of a little bit controlling in regards to details. But actually, this is also a great point to bring up, how to talk to people that are living with a mental health disorder. And so, Angie, I'm going to turn it over to you for that verbiage.
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk about in youth mental health first aid is using person first language. So we don't say that someone is cancer, they have cancer, or they're living with cancer. So we want to use the same kind of verbiage when we're talking about someone who's suffering from a mental health disorder as well. So someone isn't depressed, they're living with depression. Yeah. Or someone is not schizophrenic, they're living with schizophrenia. So they are not their disease or disorder, much like they are not their physical disease or disorder, they are not their mental disease or disorder. So just kind of keeping that in mind, and also trying not to use those words in a way that could be harmful. Like Shannon said, like, oh, my OCD today, when you don't, in effect, have OCD. It's just something that we say, and it can be hurtful, and it's just something to keep in mind. So person first language is always the best way to go. So instead of diabetic, they are living with diabetes. Go ahead, Jen.
And I think what also person first is that when we discuss something like that, it doesn't define the person. It doesn't, yes. That's not what makes the person who they are. It's a part of what they live with. So Angie,
absolutely. Good,
okay.
Good.
Do we want to throw it out to another county, or do we want to throw out just a question?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to throw out just another question. This is under warning signs. So true or false, mental health problems and substance abuse disorders don't occur together. Okay, I'm seeing a false, false. Okay, you guys are winning at life. So false, mental health and substance abuse disorders sometimes can occur together. Angie, do you have anything that you want to emphasize on that?
I have, I frequently watch a show on TV called Intervention. Mm-hmm. And it highlights the fact that many times people have undiagnosed mental health issues, and they often will turn to medications or other illicit drugs in order to cope with the symptoms that they're having. Because they haven't been diagnosed, they don't know how to work through those problems in a better way. And so they can often turn to drugs and alcohol or other medications. So yes, they often do occur together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good point.
Does another
Okay, how about, is Kathleen there? Need to go to a different screen and see if I can find her. There she is.
Kathleen, you want to give it a spin or have somebody in your group give it a spin?
I think she is looking around.
Okay. Okay, ways to reduce stress. All right. Okay, true or false? A little stress can actually be good for you. Yes, that answer is true. A little stress can actually be good for you. It kind of activates our fight or flight system in the body, and it helps us to get excited or rejuvenated or whatever to help us cope with whatever the situation is. But if we talk about chronic stress is not a good thing because chronic stress can lead to a lot of health issues.
Right. So I looked up because I knew I had read this somewhere before, but there are actually two kinds of stress. There is eustress or O-stress, however you want to say it. It's EUSTRESS. And there is distress. So there are two kinds. And the eustress is positive stress. It motivates and focuses our energy and is short term. So some of the stress that you might feel about getting a project done or having a test coming up, so you need to study for it, that can be good because it motivates you to get to it and get it finished. And so then that stress can leave you then. So it is short term. It's perceived within our coping abilities. It sometimes feels exciting and can improve our performance. But distress, on the other hand, is negative stress. This is what causes anxiety or concern. It can be short or long term, and it feels unpleasant and can reduce your performance. So distress can lead to mental and physical problems. So good point. Some stress is good, some stress is not.
Yeah.
And I see Becky Holbert sitting there. Becky, can you hear me? I don't know if she can. She's not looking at the camera.
I wonder if she's on all questions answered.
Yeah, she might.
That's 180 jumping jacks.
Kathleen, do you want to spin again?
Well, they just said warning signs.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yes.
Hamilton County. Thank you.
Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so our next question in regards to warning signs. Hallucinations and delusions are two examples of what kind of mental health illness? Hallucinations and delusions are two examples of what kind of mental health illness? Okay, schizophrenia, substance abuse. Okay, so hallucinations and delusions are actually two examples of psychotic disorders. Angie, do you have some more information to share on that?
I don't.
Okay, but the ones that you're mentioning that are in the chat, the schizophrenia, bipolar, those are some examples of psychotic disorders. And the reasons why this one can be kind of scary is because if you're working with a youth, they might be seeing something that's not really there. They might, there's just some situations that if meds aren't taken correctly, that can increase the chances of them seeing something and having an episode or whatever. So hallucinations and delusions can be kind of scary, but they are an example of a psychotic disorder, which most of those, or at least all of those, I believe, do need to be treated with some type of medicine to help combat that.
Yeah, and I guess I do have a few things to add. Most of the time, those disorders are diagnosed in the late teens and early 20s. So you may or may not encounter youth who are experiencing these things. You may encounter some adults who might be, and there's also adult mental health first aid as well. And that's intended for adults who work with adults. We believe that the youth mental health first aid would benefit many of you as volunteers and as older teens, if you're over 18, you can take that. And one thing I do want to point out about the psychotic disorders, schizophrenia, those kind of disorders, is that oftentimes people are very afraid of people who have these disorders, and they're afraid that they will be hurt by them. But typically, they actually are often the recipient of harm, more so than them harming other people. So mental health first aid, again, can help you feel a little bit more comfortable in reaching out to someone who you think needs to have some professional assistance. And if they are experiencing an episode, they really do need some professional assistance and somebody who's caring enough to reach out and help them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, how about Pulaski County? Do you want to spin again?
Okay, jumping jacks. All right, we haven't had those in a while. Come on, Sam, get your county going.
While people are finishing their jumping jacks, I saw that Vermilion County completed their session. They were doing theirs on their own, and they did 180 jumping jacks.
That's a lot of jumping jacks.
So kudos to Vermilion County for their jumping jacks.
Way to be healthy and fit. All right.
Do you want to spin again then? The last guy. Yeah.
Okay, we switched to squat.
Good idea. It's about balance.
Okay. Oh, they got jumping jacks again.
Again?
Pulaski County did.
To be fair, I'm doing my half jumping jacks, but all right.
I'll get mine in later today.
Yeah. All right. Miranda in White County, are you there with us still?
Yes.
Awesome. You want to spin?
Yes. Warning signs.
Warning signs. Okay. Name 3 feelings that could be warning signs of a mental health issue. Okay, name 3 feelings that could be as warning signs of a mental health issue. Sleeping, loss of interest. Okay, so the warning signs that we're going to talk about are feeling very sad, feeling incredibly hopeless, or feeling worthless. And these feelings tend to last longer than 2 weeks. And after that, if the person doesn't, I don't want to say snap out of it, but if the person doesn't start to feel better and kind of rejuvenate themselves, it might be time to talk to a counselor or your primary care physician to maybe get referred to some mental health resources.
Yes. And Shannon, if you can believe it, we are at the end of our time.
Holy moly.
Flew by. So I just have a few closing remarks. According to the CDC, the number of youth ages 6 to 17 being diagnosed with depression and anxiety has increased greatly over the last several years. The last statistic we have is 8.4%, but that was from 2012. So you can imagine how high that number must be now with COVID and all of the things that we're all having to deal with in this really changing time. So as parents, volunteers, and older 4-H members who are mentors to younger youth, 4-H can be a safe haven from the stress that they're expecting in their lives at home or at school. So for more information, again, check the Mental Health First Aid website, which I had put into the chat box, and I can put that there again, and look for a Purdue Youth Mental Health First Aid workshop that you can participate in. The great thing currently is that you can do that from anywhere in your state, no matter where you sign up for a course, whereas before you had to travel somewhere to be able to do that. So that's amazing. For this lesson, you can find the resources and many, many other resources on the 4-H website. under volunteer resources. So if you're a club leader, if you're the president of your club, if you're just interested in mental health and you want to share with others, you can use this information, make your own spinner wheel with a page that we have attached to those resources, and find all of it on the 4-H site. So we thank you so much for joining us and hope that you got a lot out of this. And I think we will turn it back over to Steve then. So
Thank you again so much.
Shana and Angie, thank you so much for sharing that information. Just such a very important topic for all of us to learn more about. So not only did I get my jumping jacks in for the next month or two, but also learn some really good things that will help, I think, others too. So thank you so much for that.